We're going to be learning how to transfer a design to a wall using the Tecos Grid method. This powerful tool is about to make a blocking of our sketch into a box. And like that, you're going to have perfect framing and perfect proportions. You're going to have the same bleeding on top and in the sides. To make it more graphic and easy to see, we're starting with a screen recording of a Photoshop session. Then on the wall, we're going to build the Tecos Grid, then the foundation piece in it, and then we're gonna clean those searching lines with a detail layer. And finally, we're gonna render it while we see the pros and cons of this method. Stay with me if you wanna learn this super powerful tool. This is Cobre from ARTISTHUB.STUDIO. To apply the Teco, the first thing you have to do is to find the extreme points of your piece. And then you trace a box where you can hold the whole piece in it. It doesn't matter if some of the areas look empty, like here in my top, I have a lot of negative space, but it's alright since I'm looking for 90-degree angles. It's important to make a box. And then we have to find the same aspect ratio on the wall or the canvas. The main idea is to find the limits of the piece. So like that, we don't go over the sides like these guys in here, and I can frame properly. And since we already have this box, and if you want a little bit more information, you can divide that box into many other boxes. So like that, I find the half of this box from the top and the bottom. And since I'm already there, and I found the middle of that box, I will find the middle of that middle, quarters. So I have this one, this one, this one, and this one. And like that, I can split all of those in the half. And then I will split it again, but this time vertically. And like that, we have a lazy grid. We didn't use any tools for that, just measuring our structure lines in the half. Now I have to find my piece into these boxes. This is exactly how you would do it reading a traditional grid. You have to find the main points of your structure, dividing every section of the squares in parts. You can use 2 parts, 3 parts, 4 parts, 5 parts, it's up to you. Just try to find the best possible way to make it fit where it belongs. You read the grid using the information you need, and somehow it's different to all of us. And now would be the time to define where I want my graffiti to be. I think I want to frame it here. I respect the same height in here than below, so it may be right there in the center because it looks good. Even though if I'm this height, I will have to use some steps or something to work on the top. That's something that you would try to avoid when you're working in the street, because you want to paint like that. That's the top that you want to be painting your letters, because you don't want to stand on something, right? But in this case, I'm going to be framing it, and I know that I want to even place in both sides. So I want it to be about here. That would be one of my tops, and then I have to calculate the same here and there, and that would be about here. All right, that's pretty much what I want to frame. The half of it would be about here, right? So like that, I have the half of my wall. I will have to respect the same here and there. It's pretty much half of it, and about here. I think it's the right height for me. This is exactly what I want to be working. This is where I'm going to be framing it, so the half would be about here. I think it would be about here. That's my half, and then I will go to the top, and that's my half. And now I will find the half of that half here, pretty much, right? So like that, I have that. Now I will have to divide that and that to make 4 more squares. This is easier because I already have everything set in. This may be about here, there, and maybe here, right? And the half of that half would be there. And now the same here. About there, pretty much. Let me measure. Yeah, here. And there. there, and the half of that half would be about that. There we have our deco grid ready to go. That's pretty much what I have here on my sketch. It's close. It may be a little out of ratio, but it's pretty much the same. I kind of understand that my 8 starting here, about there, pretty much, and then it goes down. It's almost vertical, but not really. It would be about there, and then it end up here in this corner, so it would be about here, there, and it goes through kind of 1/3 here, 1/3 about there, right? Yeah, not that much. And then I will define my volume with the little one with the 3 different widths, and then this go more like that, right? There, and then it goes up. And then I will go with my R. The R is about 1/3 in here, so it would be 1/3 here, about there. Usually I would have this in my hand, but I'm recording for you guys. And this will go all the way through here, pretty much. And this goes in this. Almost 1/3, maybe about here, right? So very light, and then the structure would be something like that. I have to remember how I did it, and these are almost parallels. Well, they look parallels to me, so go there and there. Respect the same width. Almost there, and then my... Since you already saw what we were doing, I'm gonna speed up the process because it's pretty much the same thing, trying to read the grid and try to place all the letters inside. And here you can see a very crazy thing, right? I messed up in there, but I noticed that the middle of my R was above that plus sign in there. That's why you do it. Otherwise, you will have to follow your gut, and then you realize all those letters are a little off, and you don't want that because you've been working on that sketch for a long time. So if you pay close attention to the grid, that will help you out to understand where everything's supposed to be, like it happened here to me with my R. These are my searching lines. I don't care how messy it is, I will have to clean them later. I will have to try to find the main volume of all of this. This is the first layer of all. It feels artsy to work like this, right? It feels like drawing. It could be a little tedious to find everything in the place it's supposed to be, because you kind of feel like you're following a map or something. It's alright. It's alright to feel like that, because once you are over this layer, everything is going to be more fun and you won't struggle with the structure anymore. And believe me, struggling with the structure is kind of annoying. Here, try to follow a lot of those rules that we applied for making this graffiti. If you haven't seen the Graffiti Survival Kit series, go and check it out in my website or in my YouTube channel. They are totally free. I'm almost there, finding every letter in the place it's supposed to be. I know this is only structure, this is only searching. I will have to draw a lot on top of that. And that's exactly what I'm looking for this particular stage. I know they ain't exactly the same that I have on my sketch, but that's all I need by now. Everything is in the place it's supposed to be. I have a nice bleeding all over the piece. I have a nice room in the sides and in the top. So I know it could be frustrating because you want to be there painting, you want to be rendering. But if you take your time and you build the letters with the proper structure, everything is going to be way better at the end. Everything is going to be super strong when you finish it. This part of the process is a lot of fun because it's about drawing, it's about finding the flow, it's about finding your own style, and you can go crazy because you don't have to pay that much attention to the sketch. Of course, you need it as a guide, as a reference, but it's kind of drawing the same thing again. You know what you have done with the sketch, and so you kind of understand what makes your piece your piece. So you will have to try to redraw that thing again. We have a little wiggle room because nobody will see the sketch on our paper, so you can fix a little stuff that you like better now, try to make everything fit a little better, and you have your opportunity to create super cool stuff in here. For this piece, I applied a lot of the rules of the graffiti survival kit. Trust me, you have to check that out. You can go to ARTISTHUB.STUDIO and you're gonna find it there. I'm gonna be using these two colors. Basically, everything that is light will go and everything that is dark will stay. And with these two colors, back and forth, I'm gonna be able to fit my piece perfectly. So like that, I'm gonna be cleaning everything. If I don't like something, I will erase it with my lighter color, and then I will not be able to change it until I find the right place, because the darker one will give me the edge. I know that my searching lines are kind of hairy, messy. They kind of occupy a lot of room in there, and I need to define those volumes in a way better place. It is a little time consuming and probably it feels messy, but this is the way to do it. I've been doing this for 25 years, man, and trust me, this is the best way to translate a piece. I know artists, they go straight up drawing one letter after the other, and then at the end of the day you can tell that something is missing, something is a little off, and if you're painting with more people, you can overlap your piece with the next guy, the guy you have next to you, and that's not cool, man. You can have everybody's room in the piece if you're working with your crew. And all of you define the place that you're going to be painting, everything is going to be way better, everything is going to be well framed, and you're going to have a lot of rhythm, and it's going to look pro. Because when you're painting with a crew, the final result should look like it was done by one person. Because if it is like a graffiti jam and everybody goes and they do whatever they want, it's like a total mess, and you have different colors, different size, different flows, and you can tell. If you pay attention and then you do it with your crew like this, you define what colors are you going to use, and then you define the size everybody should be painting, you're going to have a super pro collective piece, and that's what you're going to have, a collective piece. It should look like one piece, no different patches. As you can see, I'm going over and over here until I find the right place. It's really hard to strike a perfect flow on the wall at once because everything is too big and then you have to step back to check it out. It's not like drawing on a paper that you can see the whole thing at once. So be patient, step back, check it out, and then try to find everything in the place again. And that's basically how you transfer your sketch to a wall using the Tecos grid. As you can see, everything is perfectly framed, all the letters are super proportional. I have pretty much the same design that I had on my paper, and I'm really pleased with it. I love the bleeding, I love the extra room that I have for backgrounds, and overall it took me about 40 minutes. And to be honest, it's totally worth it, because if I wouldn't be doing with the Tecos grid and I would do it 100% freehand, it will take longer because I will have to step back and I will have to change a lot of things until I find the right proportion. And like this, I have a very loose sense of flow in here and I really like it. And now what I have to do is to render everything out. Once I clean those lines, it's gonna pop and it's gonna look like a sticker. Stay with me to check this out. To recap, this method is named after my friend Teco, who is a legendary graffiti artist from Argentina. I don't know if he invented it, but once I was painting with him and he came up with this idea, and it was my first time watching this technique, and I thought it was awesome. So smart. The Tecos grid is a simple but powerful method. First, you make a sort of box framing your sketch. Everything will be inside of it. Then you divide that box in many times as you need. The half and then the quarters is usually enough. These limits will help you to make a decent framing. And like that, it's going to be easier for you to respect the limits. And of course, it will help for the proportions of the letters. If the piece is framed inside the box, you are good to go. And then you will still have to draw a little bit in here. Once you have everything inside the box, it's all about you, it's all about to find the flow, it's all about to find the same letters again. The pros. Number 1, Tecos grid is one more level of complexity than freehand, because we have total control on the framing and the dimensions. Number 2, it is fast and it's fun. It feels artsy and we are painting in almost no time. That makes it less tedious. Number 3, we don't need to measure anything, no tools are required. Number 4, there is no previous work needed, we can make the deco on the go. Number 5, it gives to the piece a loose vibe, you kind of see the perfection of the humanly made, and that's very interesting. Number 6, we can modify the aspect ratio of the piece if we find it necessary. Number 7, there is almost no waste in materials. This is a very cheap method. And the cons. Number 1, it is kind of hard to achieve a perfect result. Getting the same design from the sketch to the wall is kind of hard. You have to work that a little bit, but that's alright. You can get away with it. And if you don't have to paint anyone famous, you're gonna be alright. You can roll with it. Number 2 is mostly applicable for letters. I will totally go with another technique like a cover grid if I want to make characters or portraits or someone famous. And number 3, this method is great for small walls, but I wouldn't recommend it for a bigger wall, like 2 stories, and that may be too much. It is perfect for your size. If you have to step on something, that makes it harder. Overall, this is a great method, super strong, and it will really help for those crew projects, groupal projects. And I will totally recommend you to use it if you don't have like a lot of experience. Framing properly is key in the success of a piece. I hope you really like this method and you learned something out of this video. There are 5 more very powerful ways to transfer a mural to a wall or a canvas, depending on the problem you have to solve. And be sure to check out the studio website, which is ARTISTHUB.STUDIO, and please like the video and subscribe to the channel, that really helps. See you in the next wall.